relief when one walks out and there's some people he doesn't hear, because otherwise one feels very foolish. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for our guest speaker George Osborne for giving the time tonight to actually come and speak with us. And also a very, very big thank you to Northwich Fix, because let's face it, without this facility we wouldn't be here tonight. And they've been incredibly supportive, so thank you very much for that. Please do spend money at the bar, it will help them. I understand they have a slight debt problem, and anything we can do to help, I'm sure they'll be very happy with. Some quick announcements before we move on. Safety-wise, can I just ask you to familiarise yourselves with where the fire exits are? I'm not anticipating a fire, but should there be one, we need to know where to go. And can I ask everybody to turn off their mobile phone? Yes, mine's off. Okay, thank you. We thought we'd give you a brief update of the campaign so far. There's a format for the evening, just to start off and put it all in context. We then asked George if he'd like to say a few words, and you'll be pleased to know the answer was yes. He's actually going to share his thoughts and feelings regarding the proposal. We'll then have a question time session, where I get to play David Dimbleby, which is going to be rather nice. I've got a fetching tie that he wears as well, and I will be able to point to people and say, you sir, and then the lady at the back, and so on and so on. I have to say that tonight we'll only be taking questions regarding the RRS proposal. I know there's lots of other things that people would love to ask George about, but tonight it's just about the RRS proposal. I will say that, putting that in context, we do need to be aware there are other incinerator proposals, and I'm thinking particularly of the Brunnermond monster, if you like, that's just down the road that is being proposed. That is a thing for another night. Chain will be leading that particular fight, and I'm sure they'll be making sure that we're kept fully informed as to what actions need to be taken, how they need to be taken, and when. And of course the key to that will be another letter writing campaign, I'm fairly certain, which we've employed with yourselves to actually very, very good effect. So that's a one for another night. Tonight is about RRS. So the campaign today, well, it started right here, back in October, with a public meeting very similar to this one. It gave a mandate to go out and fight this thing. It's had lots of leaflets to keep everybody informed about what's happening, when, how, what we can do to stop it. We've had letter writing events. The Black Greyhound, the Red Lion, the Elms, there's something following here, isn't there? Spinner and Bergamots, the Windmill. I have to say there was no shortage of volunteers to man those particular events. It was quite surprising. In addition to which, though, we've also been into Northwich Town Centre on 4 occasions. As a result, over 1,000 objection letters have been generated, and they've all gone to a very nice gentleman called John Sutcliffe, who's opening all those letters individually, because they've all been put in individual envelopes, so he knows there is a very, very strong groundswell that says, we don't believe this is a good idea. We've also been to county council meetings to voice your disapproval. Actually put forward the thought that says, why do we need this? Not why do we need it here, but why do we need it full stop? There is already capacity within the county to deal with it. As a result of that, we actually had a very, very special invitation given to us. And I've thanked Councillor Miles Hogg and Councillor Mike Jones, who's actually the leader of the council, for it. We were invited to present to something called the Strategic Planning Committee. We were the first non-professional body to actually have that privilege, and we were able to do that a few weeks ago. I must admit, it was quite daunting, because we were told in no certain terms that this must be factual. It must not be hysterical, you must use sensible language. It must be structured, it must not be confusing. So, we felt no pressure whatsoever when we walked into the council building. We did feel a little bit of pressure when the machine didn't work, and the whole thing fell apart, but we got it put back together again. And what we've done tonight is just to give you a little flavour. We'd like to give you a brief, very brief overview as to what we presented. We were very specific in what our aim was. It was to demonstrate that the RRS proposal was unnecessary. It put a thermal waste plant not next to a village, not close to a village, but literally in the middle of a village was inappropriate. What we then based the whole thing upon was 5 key areas. community, environment, transport, finance, because finance does come into this, and of course, what's the alternative? Well, with the community, we will demonstrate very, very clearly that we are a vibrant community. And we're actually more than viable. We have pubs, we have a post office, we have a school. Now, this is a real ongoing place. We actually pointed out that the proposed site would split the village quite literally in two. It would dwarf the area. In actual fact, there is a house, in fact a number of houses, within 50 yards of the proposed building. There are even more houses within 400 yards, and within 850 yards is our local primary school. Based upon the meeting we had on the last occasion, we felt we had a mandate to object quite vociferously regarding this thing. We then went on to speak about the environment. The plant will produce, it is not a question of will it, won't it, the plant will produce dioxins, it will produce heavy metals, it will produce hydrogen chloride, it will produce ash. Almost 20% of what goes into it will have to be brought out. That's a few more lorries. Over the space of its lifetime, it will produce 40,000 tonnes worth of ash. 40,000 tonnes that's got to go somewhere, and at the moment, that's going to landfill. We also were able to point out that there's no solid record of this technology. There is only one other kind of plant of this sort in the country, that's on the Isle of Wight. It's been supplied by a company called Enegos. They're the people who actually make the bits that go together. And their MD has actually described the Isle of Wight plant as a pig's ear. There are still, after almost the thing being going for almost a year, there are no emissions data being supplied that says this is clean, this is working. Big question marks over the technology. Transport. My favourite, I have to say, because I drive up and down the A559. That's the road that is pretending it's a World War I battle site at the present time. It has one or two holes in it. Yeah, you've driven up it as well, obviously. You certainly wouldn't ride a bicycle, would you? It is a problem road. It is a very, very real problem road. It is the 6th most dangerous road in the county. That's got all those lovely signs up that say 41 collisions, 53 casualties. Although, interestingly enough, 20% of those are actually knocked over at the moment by the Arctics that go up and down the road. So, at least it proves it's accurate, doesn't it? The A530, which is going to bring all the rubbish up from Crewe, is the most dangerous road in the county. And it's got similar signs that prove it as well. And of course, the other route, which is going to come in from Macclesfield, the A537, comes straight through the middle of Knutsford, right in front of that very nice car garage, and actually all the lorries are going to have to turn around there, which will be interesting because they find it difficult at the present time already. It will result in a vast increase in traffic. And in actual fact, one planning application based around the 559 has already been declined. Not for this kind of a process, but being declined on the basis of the 559 was an inadequate access road. But it's okay to put up 130 HGVs a day. In addition to which, there's something which RS have failed to actually make any note of in their plan application. There are 7 school bus routes go up and down the A559 every morning and every afternoon. The application makes no mention of them whatsoever. Now, if anybody who knows about a school bus, it stops at some very strange places, very suddenly, and then it moves off, and youngsters, despite the Green Cross code, do still dart out. But no mentions are being made whatsoever. No allowance. Finance was another area we looked at. Finance. The site is actually the last business site within Northwich. The majority of Cheshire actually has a surplus of business land. Northwich doesn't. It actually has a dearth, and that's the last one. It is expected, when put together, the new Cheshire Business Park, which was opened a very short time ago, to actually generate over 320 jobs. If the RS proposal goes ahead, it will generate 40 jobs. That's a slight difference, and in this era where we are looking for work, where people do need employment, a net loss of